Welcome to Life on the Autism Spectrum. Normally Keith Halpern is hosting, but I'm stepping in today. My name is Cassindy Chao, and I'm the daughter of a young adult on the autism spectrum. I'm pleased to welcome Greg Yates and Anlor Davin to talk about autism and meditation, and it should be a great show, and we're looking forward to showing this to you all. Hey, Will, what's with the shirt?
I'm glad you asked. This week's shirt is a Giants shirt. It's from the San Francisco Giants. They have a great season so far. They're allowing fans back into the stadium, and maybe this year they'll win the pennant.
I hope so. That's great. I love the colors. Will, what's your first question?
Can you tell us about yourself and how you came to meditation?
So my name is Anlor Davin. And I'm originally from France. Lots of people ask that, so I say that always, okay? I have been meditating for 22 years, and actually you can see my rokasu, which is part of the Zen, in the Soto Zen tradition. How did I come to meditation was, well, that was many years ago after my son's birth and the divorce. I found myself all alone. As an immigrant from back just a few years, no family, no long-term friends and all that. So I was like, I got stressed out of my mind, I guess you can imagine. And I read a book called Nothing Special, Living Zen by Charlotte Jokobek. And it made me realize that, I had nothing to lose. I was in such a place that this made sense. So I went to live in a Zen center for 6 months, and that was the start.
I'm Greg Yates. I am a co-founder and co-chair of AascendTV, and I came to meditation very naturally. It was I knew that there was something very profoundly different about my brain, and that it was making it very difficult for me to survive in this world emotionally. I knew that at an early age, and eventually I figured out I was autistic. But before I figured that out, I knew that I needed something to stabilize me and keep me on course through the emotional difficulties of what I later came to realize was autism. And I just started sitting naturally on my own, quietly. I did not sign up for a religion or anything. As it turned out, meditative practice suits my nature because I don't like the dogma and doctrines and tribal stuff. Doesn't suit my nature. And so this is just a simple practice that works for me.
Which reminds me, I forgot to say something important, which is that I am autistic.
Yeah.
And I know what you see is my Zen practice a lot, and we get older. And
Thank you for sharing that your journey and the vulnerability along the path. That's very helpful. Stacey, did you have a question?
Well, I think that's all explanatory, but my question is, why do you meditate?
yeah, why do we meditate? So it's a great question because it really means a lot. I'm talking from myself. We meditate because it helps, but it doesn't help necessarily in the way we think it's going to help. It's very interesting. And it takes time, and it sounds, very easy, but it's actually very, very difficult. And one needs to kind of be ready to open up and make space and see all the stuff that comes.
Yeah, because apparently it's not supposed to stop you from thinking. You just put it aside, or you just calm your mind, and that's all it really is. Correct?
That's right. Let it, things change. Let it come in and go out. Just stay with it. It's okay. Whatever. I know. I mean, when I first started to sit, it was just like, all the stuff it's like a storm, and the storm abates eventually, not that it ever is finished and completely over at all, but it's much quieter eventually.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I've taken both your programs, and it is soothing. So thank you.
Well, thanks.
It's a two-edged sword. On the one hand, it will center, ground, and calm you. On the other hand, it will take you right to your deepest troubles, and because it will remove the layers of denial and fear that stand between you and facing the realities. So it has these two sides, and one is very pleasant, and the other is a little unpleasant, but it's the way through. It's by
Right,
going
it's like
through those difficulties. Yeah.
it's like the yin yang, or so it's in between that you're trying to be.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of right. It's
mhm.
not just between, but a balance of the two.
A
Yeah,
middle way.
It's a middle way. Yeah.
Very powerful, very powerful.
yes, thank you.
Uh, Jennifer, did you have a question you'd like to ask?
Yes, I'd like to ask, is there something about meditation that you believe is especially well suited for people on the autism spectrum?
Well, the autism spectrum is a spectrum, and it's not just a one-dimensional spectrum. It's got many varieties. So what I'd say may apply well to some people and not so much to other autistic people. But one of the things I'm an extremely aloof person. It's difficult for me to be around anyone except one other, my partner. And even then, that's not always easy. So for me, meditating, the first 12 years I meditated just by myself. And that's partly why I got started in it, because I thought, well, I don't need other people to do this. Well, it turns out that a hugely helpful and important part of meditation, in my experience, is in fact doing it with other people. We'll be talking more about Autsit, as I say, which is about doing it with other people. But the point is that as an autistic person, meditation with other people actually is very not as stressful because the social demands are not that great. And you might think that nothing's going on socially, but that is not true at all. When you meditate with other people, especially if you're able to do it online in a brick and mortar world, you actually feel the social nature of all the people around you, really get to know them in a very intimate way, even though you're just sitting.
And then what about the sensors?
And then, of course, yes, another reason. So the point is that the social demands are really low, on the face of it. And that's helpful for autistic people. And then another huge issue is, as Anlor says, the sensory demands are very low. Meditation is typically done in quiet places with a lot low lighting, no jarring lighting or sounds.
It's
Again,
quiet.
it's
No
quiet.
talking.
And Laura and I both have headsets with mass-loaded vinyl inserts to block out noise when neighbor noise gets too loud for us. So the point is, though, that also is really well suited to autistic people.
But in centers, I don't have to wear those things,
And she means
you
as
know,
a meditation center.
Yeah.
because it's quiet.
So
And the lights the doors don't slam. Everything is geared toward less stress.
now a third thing is that in the context of Autsit, the groups that Laura and I put together, that's autistic people coming together. So this is a third way it can be helpful for autistic people because they're with others who understand something about their life experience. And that's also a big plus for sitting together when you're autistic.
That's fascinating, and it resonates so well with the less stressful environment and being able to be receptive to being together with your thoughts. That's huge. Greg, did you want to talk a little further about Autsit?
So I'm going to talk to you about Autsit.net, it's two things really. Autsit, of course, stands for autistic people sitting together. This Autsit.net is the website. You can go to it. And there are two parts to Autsit. It is a meditation for people on the autism and neurodiverse spectrum. So
And
our
friends and allies.
membership is predominantly autistic people and other neurodiverse people, but also allies, people, who basically understand autism and are coming at it from a big-hearted, open-minded way. We have, during brick and mortar era, we had monthly sittings, and Laura runs these. However, during the pandemic, there's more like weekly, 3 weeks out of a month, 3 weekends out of the month, there's a sitting online.
Online that I run.
And there's more information about that at Autsit.net, and you can register there. It's a simple, short registration form to get emails about when those meetings are.
Like Stacey came.
And yes, and then we have yearly retreats. So here's the Autsit monthly with an asterisk because it's more like weekly now. We meet when in brick and mortar times. We meet All right, so in brick and mortar times, we meet in this mansion on the Dominican University campus in San Rafael, and which they let us use for free. It's a wonderful institution, multi-faith building. So this just shows you, I said I would show you people sitting. This shows some people sitting different ways. People sit. There's Anlor presiding. Two of them are sort of sitting with their knees down. That's called seiza. And then one is sitting cross-legged, which is sort of the more standard form. And then you can see Anlor's great posture and posture in the background there. So this is and then we have other, and we have discussion, and we have walking meditation as well. And then afterwards, we meet outside for a bag lunch on the porch.
Bring your own
Bring
bag.
your own bag lunch, yeah. So it's really lovely, actually. It's a wonderful thing. And then yearly, we have the Autsit retreat, usually at the transition between May and June. And this is held
Last weekend.
held in the in a cabin near Lake Tahoe. There's the cabin, and it overlooks this waterfall. Here we are meditating again. If you look closely, you can see people sitting. Those are all people with pretty good posture.
Yeah, that's
Um,
needed.
and those are good. Those are good meditators you're looking at there. And then there's many parts to the Autsit retreat. Where there's food preparation, there's cleaning to be done, and then there's all kinds of activities during the day. There's hiking, swimming, and all sorts of things. And then we take turns giving talks on whatever sort of practice-related subject interests you. And here, that's Paul Nussbaum giving a talk. And then here the cabin itself is an eighth of a mile from the boundary of the Desolation Wilderness area. And there's just gorgeous hiking to be done there. The Pacific Crest Trail runs not far away, nearby. And you can see plenty of pictures of all of this at autsit.net. So there's your invitation to go to autsit.net.
And what about the online?
And then now, yes, because of the pandemic, we have moved online. And you can, as I say, get information about the links to the Zoom.
It's free.
This is all free. And online, you all know what a Zoom meeting looks like. We're in one right now, and it pretty much looks like that, but we actually sit still for half an hour.
About 20 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's international at this point, online. And from Asia all the way over to Europe.
We have
people.
one tomorrow.
And anyway, so there you go.
I am the one who leads those, okay?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So that is, I wanted to say that Laura and I actually pioneered online meditation. Gosh, going on most of 10 years ago, we started out on Google Hangouts. So we've been doing this a long time. And as far as what's next, we hope to go a hybrid, so that we hope to keep the online presence even when we go back to brick and mortar. We haven't quite worked out how
Well,
we'll
we
do
have
that.
3 times, so probably out of the 3, 2 will still be online, and the third one will be a hybrid.
Yes, that's
Both.
right. Yes, so that's talking about 3 weeks out of the month.
So do you have the dates when those are? Is there a schedule?
Oh,
Yeah, go to autsit.net, and it's right there at the top.
It's on the weekends and
Weekend.
at a different time each time.
Okay.
Well, kind of.
Well,
So
it's
there you go. That's Autsit. You're all invited.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure,
It
yeah.
lasts an hour, Cassindy.
an
I mean,
hour.
30 minutes is the meditation, and then I read a Buddhist text, and then we have a little short discussion.
And it isn't all strictly Buddhist. Some of the people who come there have other points of view. I'm also a God guy myself, in addition to being sort of Buddhistic. So it's open to a lot of people.
And it's lovely. I mean, so sweet, right? I mean, Stacey has been there a little bit. Anyway, I love the group. Okay, I love seeing the candor that comes in the discussion after 30 minutes of sitting. People are open, and a lot of I mean, it's a great autistic discussion. I mean, not that it's anything special, but it's a togetherness, really.
I actually want to
It's-
say one more
it's-
thing, based on what Anlor just said. One of the effects of meditation is that it clears your mind. So I'm an intellectual, I'm a scientist by training in nature, And I find that meditation is extremely powerful for just clearing my mind, clearing the kinds of discussions. It really is profound. And you'll notice it if you go to Autsit and listen to the heartfelt and open and clear comments that people make. Is really something.
It sounds wonderful. And thank you for sharing regarding that. It sounds like from what I'm gleaning, this is especially a wonderful tool for adults on the autism spectrum because it brings peace. It's powerful. It lets one deal with many thoughts and is comforting in so many levels. And it's very easy to do. So I think this is really special. And I think it's thank you for sharing about this benefit and also how to go on to Autsit and join in. And it's so easy, right? With online access, this is just an easy way to have a powerful tool for people. Thank you. Will, did you have a question?
How have you been keeping the meditation going during the pandemic?
Well, we have the online meditation, and of course, Anlor and I, at home, we have our little meditation hall, which is essentially just the meeting place of a couple. It's like a 6-foot square space. And one of the great things about meditation, Will, is you can do it anywhere. You can do it at a bus stop. You can. And you probably don't want to do it while you're driving, but generally,
No.
generally speaking, you can do it pandemic, no pandemic. It's universally available to you.
Oh, so anywhere on earth is a good spot.
Yep.
As long as it's quiet,
Yeah.
try, for you, and you feel safe, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like your own bedroom. I mean, and the idea is to sit straight, and so that's it.
Even if it's not quiet, I heard a person say, you can practice with anything. You can practice with the wind. Even if there's a lot of noise, a jackhammer or something like that, you can actually meditate. It just becomes part of your experience when
I'm
you do it.
reminded of a session.
It's usually easier and better if it's quiet. But I'm just saying, if in a pinch, it doesn't have to be quiet. You can
That's
still
right.
meditate.
Thank you, Will. Stacey, I understand that you have another question.
Yeah, I am. I'm just curious during meditation sessions, and I'm sure there's different people there every time. While you're meditating and while they're meditating, are you able to somehow sense like their energy of where they're coming from? And like, can you tell if somebody's feeling sad or happy or any type of emotions?
I cannot tell exactly, no. Okay,
Okay.
but I can definitely feel like there is the energy of sitting going. Like I feel like we're a group. And there's a core people that come back all the time. It's like there is those who are, it's like every sangha. I don't know if you ever heard that term. That means the group of people who are meditating.
Yeah.
There's the core people, and there's those people who come just once in a while, and then there's those people who come even less often. But I definitely feel the energy of us sitting.
I would add, talking of cores, the human mind is like an ocean with waves on the top and storms, and then there's currents underneath, and the deeper you get, the stiller it is. And in meditation, our mind and our awareness actually gets more in contact with the deep and still part of the mind. We still observe and experience the turmoil up at the top, but we are also grounded and centered in stillness. When we're sitting together, what I notice is the place where we all meet. We all meet in that stillness, and that I'm aware of. When I'm sitting with other people, I'm aware of the way we are all basically grounded and centered in this quiet meeting place. And the other stuff tends to be more personal dramas, which are important, but the meeting place is this very still center.
Jennifer, I believe you have a question as well.
Yes, I was wondering if there's any books about meditation. And Lori, I know you mentioned one already, but are there any others that you would recommend?
Well, I have two teachers, and one of them has written like, I don't know, over 15 books. His name is Norman Fisher. And there is a lot of great books that Norman wrote, like Training in Compassion, or hey, the one I have here is this one. The world could be otherwise. Um,
Somebody once approached Thomas Merton, who was a strong meditator and also happens to be a Catholic priest, uh, to see if he would contribute to a book on how to succeed, on success. And he wrote back and said, avoid success at all costs. And because he understood that that was actually the shortest way to awakening, to becoming more aware of problems in the world and how to solve them. I would say something of the same kind about books. Uh, my first advice would be avoid books at all cost and just sit. I mean, keep your priorities straight. The priority should be your butt on a cushion and sitting up straight. Uh, and then after you got that grounding, maybe dabble in a few books. But there's a real danger of like putting the books first. And then you just end up with book learning and spinning in circles.
Thank you very much. That was really informative. Now we're going to turn to our reports. We have a culture report by Stacey, followed by a book review by Jennifer.
Today, I would like to share that Northern Pictures is casting for a TV documentary series and looking for singles and couples to appear on Love on the Spectrum. And as you know, that's a series that's already happening on Netflix. And Northern Pictures is actually coming to the San Francisco Bay Area and looking for those in particular who would be interested in dating on the spectrum, but they are also looking for couples, maybe to talk about their success stories. So if you're interested and if you would like to talk to them and appear on the series, hopefully they could get, they talk to many people, but if you want to be one of those, definitely get in touch with northernpictures.com and their production at northernpictures.com.au. So there is that. Friday, July 16th, there's going to be series at Magical Bridge where music is magical summer concert, and there'll be this playground. It'll start at 6, go to about 7:30 p.m. in Palo Alto. It'll be a summer concert, and you could check out their series at magicalbridge.org. And then last thing, Saturday, July 24th, Autism Family Hike from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in Half Moon Bay, sponsored by the SFASA Poplar Beach. And bring a handicap placard if you want easier access to parking, for sure. But yeah, you'll be on the coastal trails. It'll be for about an hour or so, and then people will turn back, and then you can go whatever distance you like too. But dogs are welcome, scooters, bikes, and bring snacks. Of course, I'm sure water is preferred, and you could stop somewhere on Poplar Beach after the walk and then maybe have a little picnic and a little gathering. And so again, July 24th, Saturday, in Half Moon Bay, Autism Family Hike.
Thank you, Stacey. That was very helpful and very informative. And now we go to our book review correspondent, Jennifer. Whoa.
Yes, thank you, Cassindy. Today, I am going to tell you about the book Being Seen, which was written by none other than one of our lovely guests, Anlor, Davin.
Wow.
And Being Seen is a memoir about a woman with autism struggling not only to be seen, but to be understood and respected. Anlor was born in France in 1964 at a time when autism was not well understood in any country, certainly not here in America. There were a lot of misconceptions about it. One of them, Anlor wrote about explicitly in her book, the idea that if you're obviously not mentally retarded, then obviously you can't have any brain differences at all. You're just being weird because you want to. And Anlor writes a lot about her sensory struggles, and one of the things that was most profound was how she mentioned several times that she thought everyone was perceiving the world the same way that she was. She didn't understand why, coping with all the sensory stress seemed to come so easily to other people. It was only her who was struggling with it, and it was only years later as an adult that she realized that it was because other people didn't experience the same sensory struggles that she did. That struck me as very profound, because Temple Grandin, if you've read her books, she writes about how she made the same presumption. I believe that we all make the same presumption that whatever way we're perceiving the world, it comes naturally to us. So it must be the natural way for everyone. We just naturally presume that naturally everybody must perceive the world the same way that I do. And of course, on the flip side, Anlor's parents and teachers, they didn't realize that she was experiencing these sensory struggles for the same reason, because they thought Anlor was perceiving the world the same way that everybody else does, because everybody just naturally perceives the world the same way, don't they? And yes, she also writes about how she came to be involved in meditation, her 6 months at the Zen retreat, which she writes about as a life-changing experience, and I'm sure it was. Never had any experiences of that type. She also writes about her struggles to stay employed, which I, like many other autistic people, have also experienced. I have a master's degree in statistics. Anlor also has a master's degree. She is highly educated and highly talented, and yet unable, like many other autistic people, to remain employed for longer than short stretches of time. And so, yes, thank you, Anlor, for writing about and highlighting some of the very common struggles that people on the autism spectrum face. Temple Grandin and some other writers with autism have written about experiencing similar struggles, but I believe that if autism is ever going to be understood and people with autism are ever going to get the respect in society that they deserve, we need more books like yours. So thank you, Anlor, for writing it.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer. Well, folks, that is all for this week's episode of Life on the Autism Spectrum. I want to thank our guests. Thank you, Greg and Anlor, again. I'm from all the folks on AascendTV. I'm Cassindy Chao.
I'm Will Burnick.
I'm Stacey Kennedy.
I'm Jennifer Brooks.
Greg and Anlor.
Until next week, stay safe and take care. Bye-bye.